We will now have remarks from University of Toronto's leadership. I would like to welcome Dr. Christine Allen, Vice-Provost and Associate Vice President, Strategic Initiatives, University of Toronto. Dr. Allen will be followed by Dr. Dexter Voisin, Dean of the Factor Inventage, Faculty of Social Work, and co-chair of the University of Toronto Anti-Black Racism Task Force. He will then be followed by Dr. Jamie Stafford, Provostial Advisor on Data Sciences and Vice Dean on Academic Operations, Faculty of Arts and Sciences. And then Dr. Justin Nodwell, Vice Dean Research and Graduate Education, Temerty Faculty of Medicine, will close us off. Dr. Allen, over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nicole. What a pleasure to be here today to witness the official launch of such a vital addition to University of Toronto's research community. I'm Christine Allen, Associate Vice President and Vice Provost Strategic Initiatives. And on behalf of the Provost, as well as my own office, I'd like to extend our congratulations to Professor Coleman and the members of the Black Research Network Steering Committee, and indeed, all of our U of T researchers who will benefit from this network. Due to another engagement, the acting provost regrets that he is unable to attend today, but he asked me to be sure that I conveyed his delight and excitement about the realization of the BRN. As we've heard, and I think many here know from personal experience, the motivation and rationale for the establishment of a Black research network at U of T is multi-layered, inspirational, and full of promise. As President Gertler mentioned in his address, promoting Black inclusion and excellence across our campuses is a core commitment of the university. One of the priorities of our Provost Regier that was set at the beginning of her term was the advancement of access, equity, and inclusion, ensuring that all members of our community can contribute to and benefit from the immense diversity of knowledge. The Black Research Network, along with the newly established Indigenous Research Network, are key to building important connections among Black and Indigenous researchers at U of T, and enabling a cross-fertilization of ideas, scholarship, and research projects that can flourish across our larger institutional research network. As scholars and researchers, we know that the path to professional success is not always cut and dry. It can be rocky and full of obstacles and unexpected pitfalls. It can be difficult to break into established conversations and relationships. Ultimately, it can sometimes be isolating, especially when you do not see yourself represented in the faces of your colleagues. The BRN will provide important mentorship opportunities for Black researchers at U of T. It will help guide young scholars on the path of their academic careers and provide a critical network of support so that they can bring their research and expertise to light. It will enable seasoned researchers like many of you here today to pass on what you have learned in your journeys. And it will allow us at U of T to further our research impact and make new contributions to our collective understandings of the world in which we live. I am thrilled that the Black Research Network is now a formal reality at U of T and look forward to seeing the work that comes from the connections that the network will forge now and in the future. In the shorter term, however, I'm excited for the rest of the speakers today and to hear from Professor Coleman, Professor Benjamin, and Dr. Jibru on Black technoscience in the plenary. Once again, and on behalf of the Acting Provost Young, congratulations on the establishment and launch of this crucial network.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. Next up, I invite Dr. Dexter Voisin to share a few words with us.
And to share a few remarks to celebrate this important milestone. I want to start by just acknowledging the call for, as well as Dr. Coleman, this group of powerful, prolific Black women that have helped to give birth to this network along with other colleagues. As we've noted, the Black Research Network, and I would add ongoing financial support for the network, is an important part to addressing anti-Black racism, not only in the University of Toronto, but also across all institutions of higher education in Canada and across the world. As we've noted in the anti-Black racism report, anti-Black racism is rooted in the myths that Black people are intellectually and morally inferior to whites. These Black myths have resulted in the systemic exclusion of Black students, staff, and faculty, and in the predominance of deficit-based narratives around the lives and experience of Black individuals. We started the Anti-Black Racism Task Force with an African quote that says, "Until lions write their own history, the tale of the hunt would always glorify the hunter." The launch of the Black Research Network is one incremental and important step to amplifying the complete stories and the humanities of Black individuals. A Black research network that is populated by Black scholars doing work focused on Black communities and asking important questions that are salient to Black communities, telling the story of the lions. As a professor of social work, I come from a profession that is built on the mission of social, racial, and economic justice, a mission that we have embraced and sometimes stumbled with. And I would also say that this is a mission that all elite institutions of higher education have also embraced and likewise stumbled with. I'm incredibly proud today at the launch of the Black Research Network. And most recently this week, the university had formally adopted the Scarborough chapter. This in conjunction with the acceptance of all 56 recommendations of the Anti-Black Racism Task Force is truly a momentous occasion. We are often reminded that the University of Toronto is a global leader, that we are ranked #1 in Canada and #2 across public universities in North America. This privilege also brings unique responsibility, the responsibility to continue to make bold steps towards making our institution more inclusive and welcoming of Black researchers. And I can unapologetically and proudly say today that the launch of this network is certainly a major incremental step in that direction. Other institutions have been watching to see how we respond to anti-Black racism across our 3 campuses. And I believe as an institutional leader, global institutional leader, this would inspire others to do likewise. So today, I just want to join all the folks to celebrate this important moment, to thank the existing leadership, the core 4 for the launch of this network. And I look forward with anticipation and critical hope of the work that's going to be accomplished through this network in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Dean Voisin. I'd like to welcome Dr. Jamie Stafford to share a few remarks.
Hi, first of all, thanks for inviting me here. I'd like to thank Beth for her leadership of the Black Research Network, but I'd also like to thank her for recently agreeing for her leadership within the Data Sciences Institute, where she recently agreed to chair the Institute's EDI committee. In addition, I would like to thank both Beth and Rhonda for their role in preparing the proposal for the DSI last spring. It was critical in the success of that proposal. As Beth knows, the EDI strategy within the Data Sciences Institute is integrated with research, as is reflected in our initial thematic program on inequity. The DSI is also aiming at collaborations with the BRN and the Indigenous Research Network and other ISIs going forward. When we conducted our provostial consultations with peer institutions, we visited Boston University and their Division of Computing and Data Sciences. But it was only later that I learned from Beth and others about their racial data lab. I believe we should look to our peer institutions as the Data Sciences Institute evolves, and we consider what we might create here. So we are both fortunate and grateful for Beth's leadership within the Data Sciences Institute.
Thank you, Dr. Stafford. Last, I invite Dr. Justin Nodwell to close our first half.
Thank you very much, Nicole, and thank you to Beth for the invitation as well. I guess I'll start by addressing the librarians and the faculty who are involved in this organization and just offer my thanks on behalf of the university for your dedication. This sort of extracurricular mentorship, I really think is the university at its best. I mean, we have our teaching, we have our research mentorship and all the rest of it, but this sort of thing is really a cut above And often the most interesting work happens in a space like this. So thank you. It's impressive. To the students, I realize that this network has a sort of a special mission, has a very special mission. But I have to say, I'm a real fan of students involving themselves in professional organizations like this early. There's many reasons for that. The first and foremost is just the contacts you can make this way. You should look around the room. You're surrounded by some of the best minds in the country. And the connections that you will make during this time will stay with you far longer than you think at this point. It can have a huge impact on your education over the short term and your career over the long term as well, who you get to know and who you collaborate with and all that kind of thing. The collaborative approach to research and career is always more effective than just going it alone. Finally, I'll add that I'm really struck by how different the climate is now for people with research-oriented training compared to how it was in my day. In my day, the sort of careers that were available for people with advanced degrees were everyone was going to academia, and still quite a few do, and it's still a wonderful career. But the diversity of careers that are available for people with cutting-edge research-oriented education, people who can ask interesting questions and important questions, come up with novel answers and developing them into solutions for real world problems, can do all kinds of things in the world. It makes for a very exciting career potential and I think a really satisfying life. So that's really all I wanted to say. I'd just like to end by wishing you all the best. Best of luck with this network, and I hope you have a terrific day today. So,
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nodwell. Well, that closes the first half of our program today.